Chapter 2190 Battle, Half Primordial Essence. Chapter 2190 Battle, Half Primordial Essence. Emo really didn't care about the primordial essence dusk fruit. Hearing this, he stopped and said, 5 billion god crystals, 1 primordial essence dusk fruit, for 1 cosmic Tao pill. Hearing this, the black-robed man almost spat blood, but he resisted his fury and took out a storage ring and gave the fruit to Emo. Okay, give me the cosmic Tao pill. Emo checked the god crystals and fruit before giving a jade bottle to the black-robed man, while saying, "Be me moral." The man checked the pill and sneered, "I know you're very moral. Perhaps we will meet again, and when we meet again, I hope you can be as moral as today." The man said, and left Emo's shop. "Let's go." Emo took Mu Xiaoyan out of the shop and collected his shop magic artifact. "Your pill divine, Yi?" As soon as Emo packed up the shop, a skinny old man appeared before Emo and Mu Xiaoyan. Half primordial essence. Emo's eyes glanced at this old man and saw his power level, although this person had no Tao wave, and his eyes seemed very ordinary. Emo knew that this person was one of the half primordial essence who appeared at the auction. You're looking for me?" Emo saluted with his fists and asked calmly, "I'm Void Marketplace Auction Peng Yuan. I've long heard Pill Divine Ye's great name. Before, Pill Divine Ye was doing business, so I didn't dare to disturb, but now that you're free, would you have the time to come sit at my place?" The old man's tone was rather polite. Emo recognized this person and knew he had long been here. If it was before the Tao Fruit Tower was open, Emo would go, but the most important thing for him now was to leave the Void Marketplace. He wasn't going to chat with this half primordial essence. Emo immediately finished, "Thank you for your invite, immortal friends Peng, but I have someone waiting for me. After I'm done with that, I'll come visit immortal friends Peng." Then he added, "I'll be going first, immortal friends Peng. I believe we will be seeing again soon." Then Emo pulled Mu Xiaoyan and left the Tao Fruit Tower Square. He didn't want to talk to Peng Yuan, as he definitely didn't have good business coming to find him. This guy seemed even stronger than Kong Han Divine Emperor. At the same time, Emo knew that the people from Shadow Void Castle was here. Him selling great primordial god, rune, Tao fruit, there could be exposed at any time. Emo was ready to fight with Peng Yuan when he left. He was thinking that if Peng Yuan wanted to force him, he would fight him. Seeing Emo ran before he could even answer, Peng Yuan's face sunk. He had never seen such a cocky Tao actualization divine emperor. He was going to charge up to him and stop him. Immortal friends Peng Wait, a pale-faced man who looked like he drowned to death, stopped Peng Yuan. Chapter 2191 Terrifying Monk. Chapter 2191 Terrifying Monk. When he attacked again, the Aquarius Divine Emperor's heart was on fire. He was certain that Yemo's sword was a primordial spirit artifact. Otherwise, Emo would be heavily injured just then. Not only that, Yemo's strike struck ripples in such solid void. If this wasn't a primordial spirit artifact, how could it do this? At the same time, he released Zisu again. The sword ray wasn't as vibrant as before. It was only around 300 m long, but it was twisted. This time, Emo attacked with full force. This was a sword god, art even he couldn't control. Falling Mark Sword Rune. Emo knew how terrifying his Falling Mark Sword Rune was now. If he couldn't control it, this sword rune might backlash him. But Emo was facing a half primordial essence. If he held back, it was suicide. This half primordial essence immediately felt Emo's Falling Mark Sword Rune. He could immediately tell it was related to Great Primordial God Rune. After realizing that Emo knew Great Primordial God Rune, he was instead very happy. He knew that Great primordial god rune could be passed down. If it really was great primordial god rune, then even if Yemo was a pill divine, he would still kill Yemo. The great primordial god rune was no small matter. Even he could resist his desires for it. The 300m long twisted sword rune swept the entire void. This sword rune seemed much smaller than the one before, but the lethal force was bigger than the 300 km long purple sword ray. The void was instantly bound by the god rune, and this soul-piercing destructive killing intent pierced everything. The half-primordial essence who didn't consider Yi-Mo to be much of a threat was shocked and scared after seeing the twisted sword rune. At this moment, he felt the sword rune set gaze on all over his body. At this moment, the Aquarius Divine Emperor's white ruler turned into this heavenly screen that was going to block the destructive sword rune out. Yi-Mo was shaking all over his body. The half-primordial essence didn't give him this feeling. He felt that he couldn't control this sword rune. This sword rune was too scary. Yi-Mo was certain that if he could master it, he only needed to use instant second and then golden arrow of divine extermination, and he would definitely be able to kill this half-primordial essence. However, he couldn't control this god art, much less use other god art. Yi-Mo really wanted to keep using this sword rune, but he knew that if he continued, his mind would be Tom. He was only a Tao actualization divine emperor, but he knew a god art far beyond that of Tao actualization divine emperor. Yet, his Zi-Su could release such god art. When there was cracking sounds in Yi-Mo's sea of consciousness, Yi-Mo no longer dared to let this sword rune rampage. He forcefully stopped the destructive lethal force of the sword rune. He knew that if this continued, he would definitely be able to kill his half-primordial essence. He didn't even need to use golden arrow of divine extermination. At the same time, he knew that after killing this half-primordial essence, he would be backlashed by this sword rune. Even if he didn't die, his sea of consciousness would explode. He would become an idiot. Rumble. When the sword rune clashed with the white screen, cracks appeared in the surrounding void. Yi-Mo's clothes shattered, and his sea of consciousness made cracking sounds. The powerful god essence backlash sent Yi-Mo flying. The broken planet could no longer handle such power and was destroyed. The half-primordial essence spat many mouthfuls of blood, and his clothes were completely torn. He was covered in blood. Clearly, he was injured more. Yi-Mo forced down the pain in his sea of consciousness and was about to release the golden arrow of divine extermination when he heard a furious roar. "Who destroyed my house? I'm going to kill you, bastard." Yi-Mo saw that amidst the pieces of the planet, a monk emitting golden light around his body shot out. He had no clothes, but the golden light wrapped him. The half-primordial essence was closer to him than Yi-Mo. Yi-Mo saw this monk grab at the half-primordial essence and roared, "I'm going to crush you, insect. How dare you destroy my house?" Yi-Mo wasn't shocked that this monk was hiding in this barren planet. He often did that too. However, Yi-Mo was shocked that this monk easily grabbed this half-primordial essence like an insect. The half-primordial essence couldn't resist at all. Yi-Mo didn't dare to stop at all now. He swept up some dark ray and disappeared into the void. The instant he went in, he saw the half-primordial essence getting crushed to pieces. A mere Tao actualization dares to run? Do you think my head is still clumsy? The monk's hand loosened, and the half-primordial essence's storage ring and small world was taken. Everything else completely disappeared. The monk grabbed at the direction Yi-Mo went. A huge crack appeared in the void. The monk stepped in immediately, but then he murmured, "This kid is really cunning, but don't even think about running from me." He was in no rush to grab Yi-Mo. Instead, he took out some materials from the storage ring, and they instantly turned into a complete set of Buddhist robes. When Yi-Mo went into the crack, he felt like his sea of consciousness was going to explode. Yi Mo ate a few spirit sense recovery pills and hacked out Zisu. Another crevice appeared in the void, and Yi Mo charged in without hesitation. Yi Mo kept hacking at the void, with Zisu and going in. He was extremely experienced at running. He knew that for someone who could crush a half primordial essence with one hand, even if he used all his means, he wouldn't be able to hurt this guy at all. Yi Mo didn't like the feeling of his life being controlled by someone else. His only line of life was to run away before that person could react. He couldn't escape in the same realm. He had to keep tearing open the void. In the shortest time, he opened more than 10 voids. Yi Mo felt his sea of consciousness was almost about to explode. He knew he couldn't keep doing this anymore. He didn't know what sort of void he was in right now. When he saw an asteroid group fly over, Yi Mo stuck onto one without hesitation and entered the Golden Page world. The Golden Page world seeped into the asteroid and disappeared into the endless dark void. At this moment, that monk had put on Buddhist robes. He patted his sleeves and said in contempt, "I want to see how a mere Tao actualization can escape to. How dare you destroy my house?" However, before he finished, his face changed. His spirit sense pierced many void realms, but didn't find any signs of Yi Mo. He got away? This monk said in shock, and then suddenly tore the space next to him and stepped in. He scanned out with his spirit sense again. The reason he wasn't scared of Yi Mo getting away was because his spirit sense could piece more than 10 void realms. Even if Yi Mo used magic artifact to tear open the void, Yi Mo wouldn't be able to escape his spirit sense range in a short time. But now, Yi Mo really was gone. "I could tell you were a slippery one. Count yourself lucky today. I can't be bothered wasting my time on a slippery eel like you. I have business to do, but what a waste of a good sword." The monk said and disappeared. 3 days later, Yi Mo came out of the Golden Page world, but his sea of consciousness still hadn't recovered. But with the chaos tree, he was much better than before. Yi Mo didn't feel too much danger coming out, but he didn't dare to be careless. He released Zisu and dashed away. Yi Mo guessed that monk was probably a primordial essence divine emperor. Only a primordial essence divine emperor would be this terrifying. A primordial essence divine emperor would have no trouble tearing open void. How would Yi Mo dare to stay here? Plus, Yi Mo didn't know where he was right now. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2192, How Time Have Passed. Chapter 2192, How Time Have Passed 3 years later. Yi Mo stopped. He didn't know how many voids he had, but he knew he was at the lowest level realm right now. Yi Mo knew that if he went around randomly like this, then he would get nowhere even in 3,000 years. Xiaohe's Guangyuan Palace location bead was powerful, but it couldn't locate it through countless realms. For such low-level realm void, Yi Mo believed that when his sea of consciousness completely recovered, his spirit sense would be able to easily pierce the realms. He would recover his sea of consciousness first. Yi Mo chose another asteroid and controlled the Golden Page world to go in. What Yi Mo didn't expect was that when he tried to use dark weed to repair his sea of consciousness directly, it was better than using corner soul weed pill. Yi Mo rejoiced like crazy. His sea of consciousness rarely had sustained such injuries before. Usually, it would recover with some pills. But this time, his sea of consciousness was injured so heavily not due to the half-primordial essence, but because he used Zisu to use a god, art beyond his capabilities. The dark weed started to repair his sea of consciousness. Yi Mo felt the chaos tree emit endless life force to support the dark weed in the reparation process. Yi Mo felt that as his sea of consciousness was repaired, there was significant change. His sea of consciousness seemed to be forming a new world. Yi Mo suddenly started to use the spirit will 9 transformations. His sea of consciousness was covered, and a whole new world appeared in Yi Mo's will. The chaos tree suddenly moved to the sea of consciousness. His spirit sense multiplied like crazy. His sea of consciousness world rapidly completed. When the last crevice was filled, Yi Mo could sense this extremely powerful, joyful feeling. His spirit sense was even easier to use. Spirit will 9 transformations went through nirvana. Yi Mo murmured to himself. A year later, Yi Mo's sea of consciousness completely recovered, and his spirit will 9 transformations reached 6th transformation nirvana. His sea of consciousness expanded like crazy, and his spirit sense became stronger. Yi Mo then greeted Mu Xiaoyun and left the golden page world confidently. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense out in the void. He wanted to know if his powerful spirit sense could yet penetrate low-level void realms. When his spirit sense saw things his eyes couldn't see, Yi Mo knew that his spirit sense could barely penetrate a realm here. If it was before he saw the golden monk, Yi Mo would be joyful, but now Yi Mo knew this was nothing. There were many people stronger than him in the vast universe, and he knew that his spirit sense was penetrating the weakest realm. This void was countless times weaker than even the void realm of the cultivation realm. Cosmos. When Yi Mo saw Cosmos in his spirit sense, he immediately rejoiced. Cosmos was different to void. Chapter 2193, Past People No Longer Here. Chapter 2193, Past People No Longer Here. Yi Mo didn't even lift his hand, and Chu Dan felt a power lift her up. She quickly stood up, not daring to talk. She was guessing if this extremely beautiful woman next to Yi Mo was Enai Sishuang's sister Ning Qingxue. She felt ashamed of herself. It was quite hard of you to reach nascent soul state in such a place. Yi Mo sighed. Chu Dan quickly said, "That's because Sis Huang pitied me and helped me a lot. Even my storage ring is given by her. Where is Sis Huang? How come I don't see her?" Yi Mo was planning to find Ning Sis Huang. Sis Huang told me Luo Yu City didn't have enough cultivation resources. She was going to the small world and enter Luo Yu continent from there. But Yi Mo felt curious. The Duanheng Range's teleportation formation was broken. How did people go to the small world? Chu Dan said Sis Huang and them used a subtle teleportation formation to enter the small world. It's said that the formation was found by Brother Ye's friend Wu Dao. Wu Dao told Sis Huang and them. Is Wu Dao monk still alive? Yi Mo was extremely shocked. Wu Dao was no cultivator. He was a martial artist. Chu Dan answered, Wu Dao reached real Great Heaven State and went to Luo Yu City to find you, but he couldn't, so he could only go to Sis Huang. Thinking he was your friend, Sis Huang gave him a jade slip and told Wu Dao how to check it. However, Wu Dao's talent was very absurd. In just a few decades, he used the cultivation method to write a martial cultivation method. 100 years later, he used it to reach a higher level. Hearing this, Yi Mo quite admired Wu Dao. His talent was terrifying. He wrote his own cultivation method and broke through. Chu Dan continued. Then he roamed the world and found that teleportation formation. He knew it was a teleportation formation, and then went to Luo Yu to find Sis Huang. Sis Huang was the strongest person in Luo Yu City at the time. She was also experienced in formation. She went with Wu Dao to that teleportation formation. The teleportation formation was broken, but Sis Huang managed to repair it. Yi Mo breathed easy and asked, So you're saying Sis Huang and them went to the small world? Chu Dan nodded. Not everyone went, only some. Sis Huang said that the reason the formation was broken was due to using bad quality spirit stones to power it. Sis Huang also said that it had become a single direction teleportation formation, as the other side didn't have any resonance. This means that there's always people using that teleportation formation, Yemo asked, and then before Chu Dan answered, he said, I understand. He realized it was Yun Zi's Magical Continent Merchant Association that used it frequently. Her father, Yun Dongxia, used low-grade spirit stones to power the teleportation formation. He didn't expect Ning Xishuang's formation talent was this powerful. When I see brother-in-law, I will give it to you. There's also another woman called a Ning. She lives in Luoyu City, and she came to find brother-in-law. Hearing that you weren't here, she said if brother-in-law sees her little sister Njichi, please look after her. Yemo was lost in thought. He seemed to see Wendong wearing shades. At the same time, a Ning and Njichi floated before his eyes, as well as Shi Xiu, whom he got along with the most, and his brother Yi Xing, who was nowhere to be seen. After a few hundred years, these scenes cleared up before him. Yemo sighed. He felt he was too careless. Last time when he came back and didn't find Wendong, he really thought she didn't exist. Putting these away, Yemo took Mu Xiaoyan to the graveyard and took out some immortal flowers and bowed. Those were his kin, friends, and brothers. Even though he was a Tao Vindication Divine Emperor, there were still many things he couldn't control. Husband, Mu Xiaoyan called worriedly. Yemo came back to his senses and held Mu Xiaoyun's hands and said softly, let's go. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip, you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Yemo knew this world mountain definitely wasn't the world mountain he saw at the Truth Fall Palace. This world mountain was countless times bigger than the one in the cultivation realm. Their structure was completely different too. This was probably the real world mountain. Yemo landed on the mountain excitedly. He had decided to take this away and forge it into the divine Tao realm meridian. Yemo believed with his Tao actualization peak stage power, it would be fine to use formation to take it into his golden page world. When Yemo started to spirit control this world mountain, he realized how naive he was. 10 days later, Yemo realized that even if he spent a few million years, he wouldn't be able to spirit control one bit of the world mountain, nor use formation to take it away. The world mountain's laws were incomplete, and it couldn't be spirit controlled. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip, you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2197, Samsara Tao. Chapter 2197, Samsara Tao. Yemo stood on the top of the world mountain and circulated half of it. When he saw a huge ditch at the waist of the mountain, he instantly realized this was the world mountain, but because a piece of it was dug away, its laws weren't complete. If he wanted to spirit control this world mountain, he would have to find the piece that was dug away. Not a piece of it can be missing. How could Yemo not realize that the black world mountain he saw in the Truth Fall Palace was the piece missing? He would have to find that missing piece, but the world mountain flew away. Where would he find that? Who dug a piece of the world mountain away? The guy who dug the piece away definitely wasn't able to take away the world mountain. So he dug a piece in his fury. But even so, that person wasn't simple. The bigger the world mountain was, the tougher it was. This was the original body of the world mountain. Even if he dug with full force, he might not be able to dig a piece away. Yemo looked at this world mountain reluctantly and could only leave a spirit sense mark here. When he found the missing piece, he would come back and spirit control it. At this moment, countless souls gathered before the samsara bridge. They didn't go into the bridge, not because they didn't want to, but because they had to pay a few abyssal crystals to get on. Read more new novels on List Novel. Abyssal Crystal was the cultivation resource for souls. In the abyssal realm, there pretty much was no spirit items. Souls would have to rely on abyssal crystals to cultivate. Those who didn't have abyssal crystals would have to go search the vast abyssal realm. As time went on, those souls would gradually lose their consciousness and dissipate from the abyssal realm. At the same time, even powerful souls would experience danger collecting abyssal crystals. Sometimes, many conscious souls would rush up together. No matter how powerful you were, you would be torn apart. When souls had a certain level of power, they would be killed by the samsara law of the samsara bridge if they kept staying here. The most dangerous thing about the samsara bridge was that every once in a while, if you were close to the bridge, you would be swept on regardless if you want to reincarnate or not. So, collecting abyssal crystals before the bridge didn't happen all the time. Only souls with great power but no abyssal crystals to cultivate had to resort to this method. Now, there was such a soul before the samsara bridge. Yi-Mo didn't release space-time boat, but he sped up towards the samsara bridge. With his current power, he didn't need space-time boat anymore. At the start, Yi-Mo needed to mind his direction, but later on, he didn't need to as he sensed a powerful Tao, wave Qi. It was a domain he had never touched before. He even had the feeling that once he learned this Tao wave Qi, he would reach Tao Essence Divine Emperor. But she could only shake as she watched Yi-Mo, hoping Yi-Mo would recognize her. She really wanted to stop herself from shaking, but she couldn't. The more she shook, quicker her soul would dissipate. She couldn't even move. Powerful samsara, Tao, wave washed Yi-Mo's consciousness. Yi-Mo suddenly wanted to follow it and jump down the samsara bridge. He felt it was really hard to stay on the bridge, and jumping down would make things very easy. At this moment, the chaos tree sent some life Tao wave waking Yi-Mo up instantly. He realized what he was doing. He was learning samsara Tao. As he felt the waves of samsara Tao, Yi-Mo felt his Tao increase higher and higher. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The time and the space before him didn't stop. It slowly flowed backwards. The backflow of time was very brief, just 1 second, but it seemed to have moved the entire world. Samsara, Yi-Mo murmured. He was fusing the samsara chi into his instant second god, forming a new god art, samsara. His samsara god art only had 1 second, but in the future, when he reached primordial essence, it won't just be 1 second. It will be 10 seconds, hundreds of seconds, or even countless years. Such powerful god art, such powerful law. Samsara god art originated from time law, but this god art had surpassed time law. It was at this new terrifying degree. Yi-Mo believed that one day when his samsara god art was perfected, it would surpass the great primordial god rune and become the #1 terrifying god art. It can instantly let one go into samsara or turn them into nothing. But Yi-Mo didn't rejoice. He was full of worry. Who was certain that he was the only one here? Who knew if other people learned samsara god art? What if he faced someone who also knew it? Yi-Mo shook. He would rather face a few primordial essence divine emperor than face a powerful being who knew samsara god art. Yi-Mo breathed and walked out of the samsara bridge. The souls at the side of the bridge were completely dazed. The reason samsara bridge was called samsara bridge meant that once you went on, you could never return. Yet this person went on the samsara bridge and came back. Yimo looked around at the souls and didn't care. But Yimo's spirit sense didn't scan casually. He still wanted to see if Qi Wanqing was here. In just a few seconds, Yimo felt an extremely familiar qi. A shaky soul appeared in his spirit sense. The soul was shaking, and its dim body seemed about to collapse at any time. Qi Wanqing, that's right. It was Qi Wanqing's soul. Yimo even felt his breathing pause. He didn't have much hope finding her here, but he really found her. Yimo felt his footsteps were extremely heavy. He couldn't even move. Qi Wanqing seemed to have felt Yimo's spirit sense. She was still shaking uncontrollably as her soul was getting weaker and fainter. Yimo, did he see me? Did he see me? What should I do? What should I do? Yimo only dazed for 1 second and dashed up to Qi Wanqing. At the same time, he turned a Heaven Heart Return soul pill into mist and wrapped it around Qi Wanqing. Qi Wanqing's soul instantly condensed and grew even stronger. Qi Wanqing sent a shaky message. Brother Yi, did you come to find me? Yimo still felt his hands were heavy. He was a Tao Essence Divine Emperor, a Tao Essence Tertiary stage, and yet his hands were heavy. One could see how excited he was. Yes, Wanqing, sorry. I thought you were gone, but the heavens pitied me and allowed me to see you again before the Samsara Bridge. You don't need to worry anymore. Come back with me. This nether realm isn't a place you should be in. Yimo said softly. He felt extremely guilty to Qi Wanqing. Yimo sat next to her and waited till she calmed down before saying slowly, Wanqing, stay with us. You don't need to run around anymore. Brother Yi, thank you. You spent so much effort on me. Qi Wanqing said. Not only did he find her body and soul, but she could also feel her life force was much stronger than her prime. Yimo definitely used the best treasure to help her. Yimo knew what she was thinking. Qi Wanqing had been living at the bottom of society on Shunqiong continent. Perhaps in her knowledge a small spirit herb was worth more than her. Wanqing. Yimo grabbed Qi Wanqing's hand and said, compared to living, everything else doesn't matter. I don't have anything good to give you. Do you see this branch? Qi Wanqing had long seen this green branch. She felt very intimate to this branch. It was as though it had accompanied her for countless years. This is my gift to you. You can place this branch in your dantian. Remember, without certain power, don't let people see you have this branch. This is the most precious thing in the entire universe. If people see it, then even Primordial Essence Divine Emperor would fight over it. Hearing this, Qi Wanqing quickly pushed the branch back into Yimo's hands. Brother Yi, I can't take this. Yimo quickly pushed her hand back. I have a big tree. Your branch was taken from my tree. Nourish it in your dantian. Perhaps it will become your strongest magic artifact in the future, or maybe it would turn into a huge tree like mine. Really, hearing that only she and Yimo had this tree, Qi Wanqing was full of joy. Brother Yi, did you go to the Shunqiong continent just to find me? Qi Wanqing asked, and then suddenly thought of Little Wolf. Her eyes went red. Sorry, Brother Yi, the little wolf you gave me is dead. Little Wolf had stayed with her for many years and accompanied her when she was the loneliest. Yimo patted her hand and took out a wooden brush. I brought Little Wolf here too, and the phone number you gave me. Seeing the brush she gave Yimo was still kept by Yimo, Qi Wanqing could no longer resist her tears and started to cry in Yimo's arms. Suddenly, she felt that all the hardship she had gone through was nothing. Yimo pulled Qi Wanqing up. Wanqing, I'll take you to see Xiaoyun and the world we'll be living in. MHM. Qi Wanqing got up and walked out of the room with Yimo. Such a pretty palace, so many flowers. These flowers. Qi Wanqing walked out and found that the flowers were filled with immortal spirit chi. She just needed to smell it, and her cultivation level was loosening. She wanted to sit in the flowers and cultivate. Mu Xiaoyan saw the two come out and came up to greet. Sister Wanqing has recovered. Qi Wanqing looked at Mu Xiaoyan for a long time before asking in disbelief, You're goddess Xiaoyan of Lotus Glory Sect. She was the most protected prodigy of the Lotus Glory Sect. A few other magic artifacts he didn't often use were completely spirit-controlled too, which included the adamantium great vehicle painting and How Heaven Drum. Yi Mo planned to give the 36 lightning orbs to Yi Mo, so Yi Mo didn't test its power, but when Yi Mo held the golden bow and arrow of divine extermination, he felt this unprecedented killing intent. Before the 7 arrows even shot out, the destructive killing intent already circulated the arrows. It was like an ancient monstrosity opened its mouth ready to kill. So powerful, Yi Mo murmured. He didn't know what bones the arrows were made of. It was this terrifying. When he came back into the nether realm, Yi Mo felt very confident. Even if he faced abyssal race, primordial essence, divine emperor, he would be able to defend himself. On top of that, his 3rd great primordial god rune had completed, and the 4th one was about to come. The great primordial god rune was already grown in his head. As his power grew stronger, the god art would be gradually perfected. Yi Mo just wanted to test the great primordial god rune, and then use space-time boat to find the tear in space when 2 explosions happened at the border of his sea of consciousness. The explosion was so scary that even his sea of consciousness was rumbling. Space seemed to have collapsed at where the explosion was. The next moment, 2 dashing lights appeared in his sea of consciousness. They were extremely fast, and in just a few seconds, they would be before him. It was 2 people fighting. What people fighting would create such terrifying commotion? When Yi Mo saw that the one behind was a monk with faint light, Yi Mo released space-time boat and disappeared from the spot without hesitation. He wouldn't be scared if there was just one primordial essence divine emperor, but now there was 2. This kid knows how to run. You came to the nether realm. Bad luck. Kid, you're dead. This monk saw Yi Mo and chased without hesitation. The man hunting the monk saw the monk chase Yi Mo and followed without hesitation. The 3 dashing lights were invisible. People could only feel space itself being sliced open by them. Yi Mo felt annoyed when the monk chased him again. Was this guy crazy? He didn't break the planet before. The person who broke it was killed by this guy already. Why was he still chasing him? Why was the guy chasing the monk so slow? If the 2 kept fighting, he would be able to get away. Jiao Dan, you bastard. How dare you run towards my abyssal realm? Stop. The man behind was extremely furious. The monk laughed. Green Hat, when did I go to your abyssal realm? I'm chasing this kid. Can't you see? He broke my house, making me have no clothes to wear. If I don't kill him, how can I satisfy myself? The Green Hat primordial essence divine emperor didn't know that the monk really wanted Yi Mo's Sisu. Even though he was a primordial essence divine emperor, he had no primordial spirit artifact. But wasn't this kid Tao actualization? How come he appears to be Tao essence divine emperor? Regardless, the monk didn't care. More than 10 days later, Yi Mo still couldn't get away from the monk's spirit sense range. Not only so, the 2 behind were getting closer and closer. He couldn't continue like this. Yi Mo used a transmission and tore open the space in front of him and went into another realm. He didn't need Zisu to tear open these low realms. Transmission, useless. The monk sneered and didn't use transmission. He came to where Yi Mo disappeared from in just a few seconds and tore open space. Transmission wasn't very useful at primordial essence level, but this depended on the level of the transmission. Yi Mo didn't spend much effort on transmission. By the time he finished the transmission, the enemy would have flown over already. Yi Mo knew this too. His transmission was to tear open space. The primordial essence divine emperor behind saw both Yi Mo and the monk tore open space, so he chased without hesitation. Primordial essence master spirit sense could indeed cross these realms. Yi Mo felt helpless, but he had to keep running just to pull the distance apart. Yi Mo didn't know how many space he tore open, but the two chasing him were getting closer and closer. When Yi Mo's hands could no longer tear open space and could only use Zisu to hack, he knew there was no point in running. Space that even his hand couldn't tear meant that this was the top realm space. This place was filled with God's spirit chi. The chi here was very bleak and mixed with all sorts of Yin Dao laws. This quite possibly was the space of the abyssal realm. However, the suppression of the abyssal realm was gone with the slight use of three-birth chant. Little worm, why don't you keep running? Keep running. The monk came to Yi Mo as soon as Yi Mo stopped. At the same time, the person behind also came. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip, you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 22:01 Battle Primordial Essence. Chapter 22:01 Battle Primordial Essence. Yi Mo noticed the man chasing behind Han Long Air, but his hair was pale green. His clothes were completely green too. The only different part was his face that was a bit gray. Yi Mo could even feel his anger. Jiao Dan, if you dare to fight in my abyssal realm, I will kill you even if I have to chase you to the end of chaos. The man was furious but suppressed his anger and didn't attack. At this moment, he realized Jiao Dan came for Yi Mo's purple sword. He could easily tell it was a primordial spirit artifact too. Yi Mo guessed that his green-haired man was Abyssal Realm's primordial essence divine emperor. This Jiao Dan monk did something and got hunted everywhere. Green hat, when did you see me fight? I just came to ask for a resolution. Yi Mo almost laughed. This was a good name. The abyssal race divine emperor's face was green. Jiao Dan didn't attack Yi Mo immediately and studied Yi Mo first. Then he said, "Kid, you pretended to be a Dao actualization before, and now you pretend to be a Dao essence. To be able to run using an extreme grade god artifact for this many days. I believe you're not as simple as a Dao essence divine emperor, right? Read more new novels on List Novel." Calm hearing this, Yi Mo had an idea. His force rose drastically. His vast Dao wave chi spread until it was almost primordial essence before stopping. Seeing Yi Mo's power near primordial essence, the green-haired man looked at Yi Mo with different light. If Yi Mo didn't stop on his own accord, they wouldn't be able to catch up. He knew Yi Mo wasn't simple, but when he saw Yi Mo's force and Dao Qi, he realized that Yi Mo wasn't just not simple, he was on par with them. His Qi didn't seem primordial essence divine emperor yet, but it was clearly beyond half primordial essence. It was infinitely close to primordial essence divine emperor. Feeling Yi Mo's powerful Qi, Jiao Dan didn't act as casual as before. His face went serious as he said, "You were putting on an act indeed. You can reach primordial essence at any time, yet you're so shameless to the extent that you hid your power to fight a big battle with a half primordial essence. No wonder I wasn't able to catch you, slippery bastard." Jiao Dan said this, but he was quite helpless. He thought Yi Mo was almost about to be primordial essence. Why even run? If you fought with me, would I chase you for that long? If I knew you were hard to deal with, would I have the time to chase you? Now, he was stopped by this green hat. He knew it wasn't quite possible to get Yi Mo's sword. Even if Yi Mo was weaker than him, Yi Mo would be on par with him due to the purple sword. Yi Mo ignored the monk and said to the abyssal race primordial essence divine emperor, "This immortal friends, Jiao Dan monk wants to fight with me. I don't want to fight here, but he has to fight with me. There's nothing I can do. Little worm, just what do you want? 2 against 1. Don't you feel ashamed?" Jiao Dan said hatefully. The green-haired man sneered. "Jiao Dan, you took our abyssal race thing. Spit it all out, or I will kill you even if I chase you to death." Jiao Dan threw out a storage ring to the green-haired man. "Len Shuoqi, I'll give it back, okay? This kid has a lot of things. We can share it." Seeing the green-haired man take the storage ring, Jiao Dan said to Yi Mo, "Kid, it's not 2 against 1 now. It's 1 versus 1. Let me see what power you have. 2 versus 1 against you. You overestimate yourself, Jiao Dan," Yi Mo said in contempt, and then said to the green-haired man, "Immortal friend Len, you've already got part of the loot we discussed. I haven't gotten mine. I'll attack first. When this monk tries to run, stop him." Yi Mo knew things weren't good when the green-haired man took the storage ring. None of these primordial essence divine emperor were trustworthy. They just agreed to join up, but now he was hesitating after just taking a storage ring. So before the green-haired man could change, Yi Mo said that and used Falling Mark sword rune with Zi Su, a sword rune that completely twisted the void, smashed down. This sword rune also sucked out all the life force in this space. Life force and space were completely destroyed and dissipated under this sword rune. Yi Mo was Dao Essence tertiary stage and learned some Sara Dao. His sea of consciousness was very condensed. He created Falling Mark sword rune based on Great Primordial God rune. Now, with the help of Zi Su, it was subtly stronger than the Great Primordial God rune. Perhaps it was due to his Great Primordial God rune not being perfect that this happened. This sword rune seemed extremely focused, with Yi Mo expanding his Dao Essence realm domain. He knew Jiao Dan's power, so he used another spirit, Sense God art, Great Primordial God rune. 2 spirit sense Great Primordial God rune attacked at Jiao Dan's Sea of Consciousness. Jiao Dan was shocked by Yi Mo's extremely vibrant Falling Mark sword rune, and now that 2 Great Primordial God rune attacked his Sea of Consciousness, how could he not treat Yi Mo as a primordial essence? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2202 Vindicate Dao through martial arts. Chapter 2202 Vindicate Dao through martial arts. When Yi Mo's Great Primordial God rune reached his Sea of Consciousness, his Sea of Consciousness instantly formed waves of cosmic ranges. These cosmic ranges wanting to stop Yi Mo's 2 spirit sense Great Primordial God rune. However, the Great Primordial God rune was too savage. It grinded the mountain ranges one by one. Even Jiao Dan's face changed greatly when he felt the terrifying destructive power of the Great Primordial God rune in his Sea of Consciousness. But there were too many mountain ranges, and they were too dense. Yi Mo's 2 Great Primordial God rune was eventually stopped. Jiao Dan then breathed easy, but he was more careful. Yi Mo didn't expect this to get to Jiao Dan. If a primordial essence divine emperor was so easily ambushed, he wouldn't deserve to be primordial essence. Jiao Dan couldn't care that much. He forcefully smashed out his 18 Buddhist beads under Yi Mo's Falling Mark sword rune and realm domain, forming waves of Buddhist light. The Buddhist light instantly tore open Yi Mo's Falling Mark sword rune domain and smashed Yi Mo's realm domain, cracking. If it wasn't due to the spirit sense attack, Jiao Dan could even counterattack. Despite this, the Buddhist light stopped the Falling Mark sword rune. Destructive chi expanded in the void. These destructive chi was brought about by Yimo's falling mark sword rune, but under the Buddhist light it kept breaking and couldn't go into Jiao Dan's Buddhist light realm domain. Read more new novels on List Novel. Calm seeing Jiao Dan and Yimo in a stalemate, the green-haired man instantly released his mist tower and controlled the nearby void under the tower. Jiao Dan's face changed. The light of the 18 Buddhist beads burst out and smashed the falling mark sword rune away before he turned and disappeared. Just when the green-haired man wanted to run, he felt something wasn't right. This human kid should be chasing first. He was much faster than him when chasing Jiao Dan before. How come this time the kid didn't move? Thinking about this, the abyssal race divine emperor stopped. He found that Yimo didn't intend to chase indeed. Why don't you keep chasing? The green-haired divine emperor asked. Yimo sneered. Why would I chase him? I've been played by you, and you still want me to help? When did I play you? The green-haired divine emperor's face sunk. Yimo sneered. We agreed that we would take out Jiao Dan. I'll take the 18 Buddhist beads, and you take the rest. But after Jiao Dan gave a storage ring to you, you even planned to kill me with him. You think I'm an idiot? Did I attack? The green-haired divine emperor was feeling annoyed. How did this kid dare to talk to him like this? Yimo stared at him and said, You didn't attack, but we're all not dumb. You dare to say you didn't plan to do that. If you attacked with me after getting the storage ring, would I doubt you? I've never thought that one day I would be able to vindicate Tao through martial arts. Yimo said in shock, Fu Fei, you vindicate Tao through martial arts. No wonder Fu Fei's Tao waves were different. It was martial Tao. Yes, Master's wife gave me a yellow middle plum, and Master helped me edit the cultivation method. You both gave me huge help. Fu Fei said excitedly. Great, it seems the Divine Tao sect will have a martial arts branch. Yimo said happily. Fu Fei bowed again and said, Master, my martial arts Tao needs experience. I can't go back to the divine Tao realm for now. I need to adventure in the void for a while. One day, I will come back to the divine Tao realm. Hearing this, Yimo immediately said, This is the void. Even though you vindicate Tao, you're only Tao molding divine emperor. This power is too lacking to be traveling the void. Fu Fei said pridefully, Master, you were only Tao molding divine emperor before, but you came to the void too, and even headed to the void marketplace. Since I've vindicated Tao through martial arts, I need to learn from Master and train myself in life and death to perfect my martial Tao. Yimo didn't continue to persuade him. He thought of Luo Qinghe and Qin Xuanji. Which of them didn't train alone in the void to accomplish things? Thinking about this, Yimo gave a storage ring to Fu Fei. Since you want to call me master, there's nothing much I can give you. The cultivation resources in here are yours. Yimo thought of something and gave a jade box to Fu Fei. Fu Fei, there's a heaven martial void breaking fruit. It was given to me by Vice Sect Leader Qin Xuanji. You can have it too. I hope you make good use of it. Heaven martial void breaking fruit, the only Tao fruit that can help martial cultivators perfect their Tao. Fu Fei asked, That's right. With this perhaps you can vindicate primordial essence martial divine. Yimo said, If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip, you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2204, Pitiful Dragon Race Fruit Garden. Chapter 2204, Pitiful Dragon Race Fruit Garden. 2 hours later, Yimo suddenly stopped. He stood on a huge dragon bone. This bone had been here for countless years, but the terrifying pressure from it still existed. if it was an ordinary Tao actualization or even Tao Essence Divine Emperor standing here. They would be crushed to nothing by the pressure here. Yemo breathed easy. He already saw a rippled door behind the dragon bone. The cosmic chi devoured by the whirlpool was converted to dragon chi, which then entered this door. Yemo immediately knew that the Heaven Pan Dragon Fruit Garden was behind the door. Other than this entrance, there must be another entrance to the garden. Since Shadowless, Chiu Rang, and Small Ginseng were too weak, Yemo set up a barrier formation before the door, barricading the powerful dragon chi. Then he called them out. Enter the rippled door from here. It's definitely the Heaven Pan Dragon Fruit Garden inside, but I need to warn you, don't get too greedy. When you come out, stay in this formation. Don't leave until I come in and take you guys away. Read latest chapters at Wuxia World. You hearing this? The three looked at Yemo in shock and asked, Boss, you're not coming in with us? The dragon chi here is extremely dense and is mixed with a cosmic dragon wave chi. I need to learn it. If you guys come out, and I'm not out yet, wait here for me. Yemo answered, Boss, we understand. Shadowless said quickly. Seeing the three dash in the door, Yemo went back to the bottle of the dragon chi whirlpool. In order to prevent his learning being interrupted, Yemo threw out all the god spirit ranges and all his god crystals. He used these things to set up a top spirit gathering formation. He told Mu Shaoran that he was going into solitary cultivation. Yemo stood on a huge rock above the dragon bones. He let the powerful chi charge at and tear at his body. Time flew by quickly. Yemo didn't even know how long it had been. Powerful dragon chi was fused into his Tao. The god spirit range and god crystals as god spirit chi turned into a mist that completely surrounded Yemo. Tao waves flowed, but there was no one to be seen. As time went on, the god spirit range and god crystals completely disappeared. The mist gradually entered Yemo's body. When the god spirit chi was completely gone, Yemo still stood on the huge rock and didn't move. When the god spirit chi was completely gone, Yemo still stayed on the huge rock, not moving. Waves of dragon chi and cosmic chi circulated around his body. Later on, it allowed him to completely fuse into this chi. Shadowless looked dazedly at the rows of Heaven Pan dragon fruit trees and the red Heaven Pan dragon fruits. He drooled and said, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Chiu Rang was also dazed, but all the Heaven Pan dragon fruit trees. How long would it take to eat all these fruits? Feeling the power that was much stronger than Tao Essence tertiary stage, and his sea of consciousness forming a void, at any time, Yemo knew that his spirit will 9 transformations went up a transformation again. If he fought with that fried egg again, he wouldn't be any weaker than that guy. Perhaps that fried egg was no longer a match for him. Thinking about how he could fight with Primordial Essence Divine Emperor head-on, Yemo felt proud of himself. He had heard of First Step Divine Emperor defeating and even killing Second Step Divine Emperor, but never heard of a Second Step Divine Emperor being able to take on Third Step Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. If there was such person, the stories would be in the Void Marketplace, but he hadn't heard about it. Now, perhaps he was the only Tao Essence Divine Emperor who didn't fear a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. Yemo was right. In the endless void, there has never been an example where a Tao Essence Divine Emperor could take on a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. This was because the difference between Tao Essence and Primordial Essence was just too huge. When Yemo came down from the rock, he remembered there was 3 guys who went to the Heaven Pan Dragon Fruits Garden. He had cultivated here for 3 decades. He wondered how those guys were. Yemo immediately went back to the restriction and found the 3 hadn't come back. Yemo went into that rippled door without hesitation. Boss is here. Chiu Rang was the first to see Yemo come in. They have been waiting at where they came in without blinking. Seeing the three were fine, Yi-mo breathed easy. Then he saw all the red heaven pan dragon fruits. Boss, let me tell you, there's not only a lot of heaven pan dragon fruits, but also, before Shadowless finished, he and Small Ginseng were all sent into the Golden Page world. Yi-mo was planning to ask about the situation and pick some heaven pan dragon fruits, as well as dig away a few trees. But before he spoke, his spirit sense felt something. He immediately knew someone came to the garden. He didn't dare to keep staying here. No matter how powerful he was, he shouldn't fight the dragon race. The three had been sweeping the garden for so long. If the dragon race noticed, it wouldn't be good. So Yi-mo sent the three into the Golden Page world and tore open the space here, returning back to the barrier restriction on the dragon bone. Yi-mo took away his formation and went up the whirlpool. When he came down, he was covered in injuries due to the grinding of the dragon chi, but now that he went up, only his clothes were torn. Those dragon chi were completely ineffective to him. In just 1 hour, Yi-mo flew out of the whirlpool and came back into the cosmos. He didn't stop there. He used a transmission and released a top-grade flying god artifact before leaving here. After entering the void again, Yi-mo changed a set of clothes and breathed easy. He flew further and further away. Chapter 2206 Primordial Essence Ceremony. Chapter 2206 Primordial Essence Ceremony. Is it Pill Divine? Over there! The sound came at the same time. The dashing light came to Yi-mo. Yi-mo stopped the flying ship. It was a flying ship coming at him, but it was much bigger than his. It was an extreme-grade flying god artifact. What was coincidental was that Yi-mo knew more than half the people aboard. The two half-primordial essence of Void Marketplace, Tianrui and Kong Han, as well as the skinny Pengyuan. This guy was a half-primordial essence. After the Dao Fruit Tower, he invited Yi-mo to go with him, but Yi-mo didn't go. Other than this, Yi-mo saw a female Dao essence who was Pu Hoshi from Shadow Void Castle. There was that young castle master Lu Tai and an extremely handsome middle-aged man next to him. This guy was a half-primordial essence too. Yi-mo guessed that this person was the castle master. Rarely did cultivators alter their appearances. Their looks resonated with the world law. It's not good to change it. Immortals could use their power to change their look, but if they didn't use a treasure, it would damage their Dao heart. Their cultivation level would stop. To immortals, looks really weren't anything to their Dao. The castle master and young castle master were truly handsome. This was natural. The man standing at the front of the flying ship was a blue-faced, ferocious-looking man. He had 2 golden whiskers running down his face. He had an extremely powerful dragon force, and was also halfway primordial essence. Yi-mo looked at this blue-faced man, and knew he was probably from the dragon race. Ha! So it's immortal friend Kong Han and Tianrui. What a coincidence! Yi-mo saluted with his fists and smiled. Tianrui smiled and said calmly, Pill Divine, ye is amazing. Not only do you have great primordial god rune Dao fruit and a good cultivation method. Even I don't know if immortal friends is Dao actualization or Dao essence. Tianrui had a scornful tone. It wasn't hard for them to guess that he was the seller after Pu Hoshi knew he had the great primordial god rune Dao fruit. From this, they all knew that the light heart was in his hands, but Yi-mo didn't worry at all. With his current cultivation level, he once scared of these few half-primordial essence. Pengyuan had been staring at Yi-mo non-stop. He didn't understand how Yi-mo could appear here. He thought that Aquarius race half-primordial essence took everything, but now it didn't seem so. Pill Divine, Yi is indeed powerful. I heard Aquarius race Shen Hanqi when I find you. How come I only see you now, but now, immortal friend Shin? Peng Yuan sneered. If he saw Yi Mo alone, he would have attacked already. Yi Mo glared at Peng Yuan. How would I know where your lover went? Peng Yuan's face changed, but he glanced at the blue-faced man and didn't act out. He had planned that even if he didn't go to the dragon race immortal fruit ceremony, he wouldn't let Yi Mo go. Seeing this, Ao Shinting rejoiced and quickly said, "In that case, please come on our flying ship." Then, the restrictions have opened. Yi Mo took Shadowless and Qiu Rang onto the ship. "Pill Divine Yi, your god beast is from my dragon race, right? So powerful." As soon as Shadowless stepped on, Ao Shinting could feel Shadowless's power. He suspected Shadowless evolved from Shadowless Tau dragons, but he didn't dare to say this, as it was too absurd. Shadowless Tau dragons were the weakest in the dragon race, and it was difficult for them to evolve, so, in the end, the dragon race called them Shadowless Tau bugs. The Shadowless Tau bugs were weak, but Shadowless was this powerful and tall. Shadowless was completely black around his body and carried golden wings. He looked very powerful. If it wasn't that Shadowless head didn't seem like a dragon horse, and his chi didn't seem like it too, Ao Shinting would think Shadowless was a dragon horse. He felt that this god beast was no weaker than Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, or was even on par with Tao Essence. Yi Mo said, casually, "I found him. I didn't take note if he was from Dragon Race." Seeing Yi Mo not wanting to talk about it, Ao Shinting suppressed down his confusion and started to praise Yi Mo. As for Qiu Rang, he ignored him. There were all too many branches of Dragon Race that went aside. Seeing Ao Shinting so polite to Yi Mo, Peng Yuan could only suppress his annoyance. He knew that he was far inferior to Ao Shinting than Pill Divine Yi. He could only wait till the end of the Dragon Race ceremony before dealing with Yi Mo. Kong Han and Tian Hui knew Yi Mo had the light heart but didn't think much of it now, so they joined the conversation. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. His hair was like a tree, and his face was like a fence with blue and aqua stripes. This person was a primordial essence divine emperor. His water chi made Yi Mo guess this person was the Aquarius race divine emperor. Seeing this primordial essence annoyed, the group quickly bowed and said at the same time, "Greet Desui divine emperor." Then they bowed to the rest of the divine emperors. They were half primordial essence, but they were nothing to primordial essence divine emperors. As they moved, Yi Mo and them soon stood out. Yi Mo didn't bow to anyone at the door. Not only this, Shadowless and Qiu Rang didn't bow too. The dragon race girl looked at Yi Mo in shock. Yi Mo came with these halfway primordial essence, so clearly he wasn't primordial essence divine emperor. Seeing Yi Mo stand not move, she was worried. If any primordial essence divine emperor got angry, they could easily crush him with the lift of a hand. Not only this, but everyone else looked at Yi Mo with confusion. Yi Mo showed himself to be a Tao essence divine emperor, but he dared to act like this. Abyssal race primordial essence Len Shuachi knew Yi Mo. Seeing Yi Mo's cultivation level rise a little, he knew Yi Mo was primordial essence divine emperor, but just pretended to not be one. He didn't feel strange at all. They were all equals. Why did Yi Mo have to bow to them? Jiao Dan Monk saw Yi Mo come in and immediately looked away and sent an immortal fruit to his mouth. The person he didn't want to see the most was this guy. Now, that Len Shuachi was here too. Who knew if they were conspiring? Seeing Yi Mo's cultivation level rise a little, he knew that Yi Mo was definitely primordial essence divine emperor. This guy liked to act weak. Kong Han and them saw Yi Mo act like this and sighed. Yemo was seeking death. No one could save him in such a place. Peng Yuan rejoiced. This guy finally sought death himself. Who did this guy think he was? Acting like this in front of primordial essence divine emperors. This was challenging their authority. Desui divine emperor was just going to teach Yi Mo a lesson when he heard this little Tao essence divine emperor say, "Fried egg, you're here earlier than me, ha." Every time Yi Mo thought of this name, he wanted to laugh. This primordial essence divine emperor really knew how to give himself a name. Jiao Dan immediately got up in fury and yelled at Yi Mo, "Little worm, I've told you many times that I'm not Fried Egg, I'm Jiao Dan. Fried Egg, I warn you, don't call me worm or I won't let it easy on you." Yi Mo sneered. Jiao Dan lost face in front of this many primordial essence divine emperors and said awkwardly, "I won't call you worm, but don't call me Fried Egg. If you call me Fried Egg, I will call you worm. Won't let it easy on me? Illily tell you the truth. I'm not scared of you." A primordial essence divine emperor swore, with Yi Mo like a little kid. This made all the people here confused. No one could understand what this was. A Tao essence divine emperor dared to say these things to a primordial essence divine emperor, but this primordial essence divine emperor could only argue just what was going on. Shouldn't it be the primordial essence divine emperor crushing this cocky Tao essence divine emperor with one hand? Desui, who anted to teach Yi Mo a lesson, immediately stopped seeing this. He knew Jiao Dan all too well. He wouldn't lose out at all. Yi Mo made him lose face, but he didn't attack. Other than taking into consideration the dragon race, it was that he wasn't confident enough. "Immortal friend Jiao, who is this guy?" Desui asked Jiao Dan. Jiao Dan said with annoyance, "Ask yourself, I'm going to eat fruits." Then he ignored Desui. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip, you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters." She also had this royal temperament that made people feel ashamed of themselves. Yi Mo could tell she was a primordial essence divine emperor. Her chi seemed familiar. He sensed this on Tang Xiaoyu and Tang Qi. So she was a phoenix race, primordial essence divine emperor, Yi Mo realized. "Pill divine Yi, I've heard Tang Qi mention you. I heard you know Xiaoyu, that little girl. When would you have the time to come to my phoenix race and concoct a few god pills for me? I won't mistreat you." The girl said. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. "How may I refer to you, sister?" Yi Mo saluted with his fists. The little girl laughed. "I'm Tang Tsongyin. Remember that. You must come to my phoenix race when you're free. It's as good as here." Hearing her interrupt him, Pu Yangxi was very annoyed, but he said nothing more. She looked like a yowing girl, but he knew clearly how powerful she was. Her temper wasn't as good as she showed. If he argued with her, he would definitely ignite this keg. The best decision was to shut up. Yi Mo could only say, "Thanks for your invitation, sister. Yi Mo would definitely come when I'm free." People here are beginning to understand what sort of person Yi Mo was. If you were polite to him, he wouldn't do anything, but if you want to suppress him, then just look at Pu Yangxi. Yi Mo then finally had the time to greet Len Shuachi. "Immortal friend Len, we meet again. So soon." Len Shuachi squeezed out a smile. "Yeah, we meet again this quickly. Immortal friend, ye got stronger? Congratulations." Desui finally realized who Yi Mo was. He was the divine emperor who killed more than 100 Aquarius race divine emperors at the god rank square. Hearing when Desui got up immediately as killing intent spread across his face. "So you're the pill divine Yi who killed more than 100 Aquarius race divine emperors. Very well, I didn't expect to see you here today. If I don't refine your soul, how can I let you go?" At the same time, His huge lethal force erupted, shaking the space here. Before his lethal force reached Yi Mo, it was broken by Yi Mo's spirit sense realm domain. The surroundings calmed down again. It seemed to other people that when Desui had the lower hand, but in fact, when Desui only used his lethal force, but Yi Mo used spirit sense realm domain. When Desui didn't truly attack, but Yi Mo did. This was subtle, but other people didn't see it like this. No one would check with spirit sense when two primordial essences were fighting. They just saw Yi Mo easily stop when Desui. They were right. Pill divine. Yi was a primordial essence divine emperor. Yi Mo then said with intense lethal intent, "You won't let me go? I didn't want to let you go. I came to the dragon race primordial essence ceremony. I don't want to deal with you now. After I leave the dragon race, Ilu teach you a lesson. Your Aquarius race thinks the human race is easy to abuse and dares to challenge our human race. Is 100 divine emperors a lot? If more human race divine emperors is killed by Aquarius race for no reason, I promise I will go to the Aquarius race and slaughter that place." Hearing this, Wen Deshui's face changed. Other people thought he was angry, but only he knew why his face changed. Before he came here, the Aquarius race sent more than 10 void spaceships to annihilate the divine Tao realm. That would definitely be enough to turn the divine Tao realm to dust. He didn't expect the human race had a primordial essence divine emperor like Yi Mo. If the Aquarius race really annihilated the human race, how could Yi Mo settle? If he couldn't kill Yi Mo, then what would be the consequence of a primordial essence divine emperor attacking the Aquarius race? There were battles between races, but no primordial essence divine emperors were involved. If the Aquarius race annihilated human race, how could Yi Mo dumbly agree to this rule? Welcome, immortal friends. Due to something's happening at the dragon race, we've wasted so much of your time. I'm extremely sorry. Aolan will drink first. A golden-haired man walked in and drank a cup of wine. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.